Hey folks! Tonight's trip takes us somewhere that fairy tales forgot. A land where stories were stitched into girls' skin with thick needles. Welcome to Europe, year 1300, a world of muddy fiefdoms, frozen stone castles, and promises made in cradles. You've heard of knights, kings, and maidens. But what about Maria, promised in marriage before she could talk? Or Katerina, who by age 11 already knew that beauty was dangerous and menstruation was a binding contract. Tonight, we'll step into the life of one of those girls, sold as a bride, dressed to obey, praised like livestock. Because in the Middle Ages, being born pretty wasn't luck. It was a sentence. Before we dive in, you know the drill. If you enjoy what I do here, give the video a like and subscribe, but only if you feel like it. And drop a comment. Where are you watching from? What time is it over there? I always love knowing who I'm sharing these stories with. Now turn off the lights, maybe turn on a fan, or leave the silence, and imagine you're a girl in 1300, too pretty to stay single. Chapter 1. The Day You Are Born. You are born in a wooden house, in the middle of mud, reeking of pigs and piss, somewhere in Europe that doesn't even have a name on the map. There is no map. You don't have a name yet either. No celebration, no awe, no promise. There is bloods, a lot. Your mother's, as the midwife pulls you out like a turnip from the dirt. There is screaming, hers, not yours. You don't cry. You already understand. The roof leaks, the cold seeps in, moisture nests in the bones. Someone mutters, "It's a girl," with the same energy as announcing, "The bucket's broken." Your father is not there. He's somewhere else, maybe sleeping, maybe praying you won't be one more mouth at supper. Or worse, praying you're pretty, because that, at least, might pay off. You don't know it, but your life is already calculated. Not in years, in functions: nurse, crawl, walk, work, bleed, wed, bear, die. An alphabet without letters. Your cry comes now, not from feeling, but from reaction. A sob not of pain, but of submission. The world was like this before you. It will be after. Your name is chosen for convenience. Maria, Catherine, Marjorie. Doesn't matter. Something easy to yell during harvest. Something that can be whispered by an old, sour husband in the dark. Your first dress will be a rag. Your first a doll, a broken spoon. Your first mission, survive past 5. You sleep those first days like someone who already knows they'll be tired too early. The fire hisses, rain drips indoors, a fly lands in your eye, and you, not yet knowing what the world is, have already been sentenced by it. After all, you were born pretty, and that isn't a gift, it's a debt. You are 5 years old. Your legs wobble under the weight of firewood. Your arms are scratched from brambles. Your skin carries the scent of ash, milk, and wet soil. The world towers above you. Adults with coarse hands, looming trees, barn doors too heavy to move, and rules too old to question. You don't understand them, but you feel them. In every cold stare, every withheld smile, every command barked with urgency and no explanation. Your mother wakes you before the sun. She doesn't say good morning, just hands you a bucket and nods toward the well. The rope burns your palms. The water sloshes and spills. You are already failing. Back home, you stoke the fire with trembling fingers. You watch your mother knead dough, not with love, but with exhaustion. Her back is bent like a question no one answers. Her hands never stop. There is no school. Learning is done by imitation, repetition, punishment. You learn that silence is safer. You learn that a full plate is rare, that the word no is not yours to use, that your body is not really yours, even now. You are too small to work and too old to be idle. Sometimes you play. You find a beetle and watch it crawl, pretend it has a name. You talk to rocks like they're dolls. You make up stories in your head about castles and queens and girls who can fly. But always someone calls you back to the real world, to scrub something, hold something, carry something, and you obey. Because not obeying brings consequences you've already tasted. Your brothers are louder, freer. They run through the mud, chase chickens, climb trees. No one scolds them for scraped knees or torn clothes. You try once to follow them and are pulled back by the arm. Girls don't do that, your mother says, without looking at you. It's not anger, it's fact. As real as the dirt under your nails. You listen to the grown-ups talk. They don't think you understand, but you do. Snippets of sentences. She'll be ready soon. She's not as strong as the last one. Hope she doesn't get the pox. You understand you are being watched, measured, compared. You are not just a child's. You are a future transaction. Your hair is brushed only when it tangles too much. Your clothes itch. Your feet are always cold. You don't remember a day without chores, without the sting of smoke in your eyes. You've stopped asking why. One night, your father returns drunk. He lifts you onto his knee and stares at your face for too long. She's a pretty one, he slurs. Your mother looks away. You don't know what the words mean, but you feel something tighten in your stomach. You wish you were ugly. You wish you could disappear. You see other girls in the village, some older, already with babies on their hips, others still chasing geese barefoot. You wonder which path is yours. You hope, foolishly, that there's a secret third option no one talks about. A way out. A way beyond. But the days keep repeating, season after season. You learn to gut fish, sew a hem, tell the difference between edible and poisonous roots. These are your studies. The world outside your village begins to blur into myth. You hear tales of cities with towers, of saints who bled for justice, of women who rode horses and carried swords. But you've never seen a tower or a sword, and justice is just a word in the priest's mouth. You go to church every week. The priest talks about sin, obedience, and the virtue of suffering. You sit still, hands clasped, eyes wide. He says women must be pure, that Eve brought ruin, that Mary was silent and holy. You begin to understand the blueprint. Sometimes, when no one's looking, you touch your own face in the dark. You wonder what they see when they look at you. You wish they saw a ghost, or a boy, or nothing at all. But you are growing, and they are noticing. And that is not a blessing. It is a countdown. You are 8 years old now. You know how to milk a goat without spilling. You can skin a rabbit without gagging. You've learned how to dry herbs and where the sharp knives are kept. You know which silence means you did good and which means run. You've stopped asking questions. Questions get you in trouble. Now you listen, memorize, performance, be useful, be invisible, be quiet. They start dressing you differently. Tighter bodices, hair braided with effort. Your mother teaches you to walk slower, speak softer, lower your eyes. The lesson is never spoken out loud, but you feel it in every tug of your dress, every correction of your posture, every disapproving glance. You're growing, they say, but what they mean is you're ripening. One day, a man from another village visits. He's old, his hands are swollen, his teeth are few. He watches you eat porridge and asks your father what your name is. Your mother's back stiffens. You pretend not to hear. That night, they talk quietly while you pretend to sleep. Words like good match, not too early, generous dower. You are learning that your body has entered negotiations without your consent. You wake up early to bake bread. The flour sticks to your arms. The dough clings to your fingers like guilt. Your back aches before breakfast. Outside, boys your age throw rocks and wrestle in the fields. Inside, you scrub a copper pot while your reflection stares back, warped and tired. Someone jokes that you'll be married by next winter. You laugh with them, then cry alone. There's a girl named Lena, a little older than you, who vanished last season. Her house sits empty now. Some say she died. Others whisper that she was married off to a man with a limp and land. You remember her laugh. You remember she liked dogs. You wonder if she still laughs, if she sees dogs now. At church, the priest speaks of obedience and purity again. He looks at you when he says modesty. You cross your arms, try to disappear into the pew. Your mother starts teaching you new things. How to look busy when you're tired. How to answer without speaking. How to serve food without letting your hands shake. Don't attract attention, she says. Then she tightens your hair so hard it makes your scalp throb. You want to scream, but you don't. You never do. Some nights you hear your parents argue, low voices. Too soon, your mother says. We don't have options, your father replies. You are an option. You see yourself in your younger sister. She doesn't understand yet. She still plays in the mud. You envy her. You pity her. The first time you bleed, you hide it. You wad straw in your underclothes and pretend nothing happened. You don't want them to know. You don't want them to start planning. But they notice the way you walk, the smell, the stains. Your mother pulls you aside. It's time, she says. She doesn't explain what it is. She doesn't need to. You bathe that night for longer than usual. The water is cold. You don't feel clean. You look at your own body with suspicion. Your chest, your hips, your hands, none of it feels like yours. From now on, you are watched more carefully. Men lower their voices when you pass. Women raise their eyebrows. Your name is said with new weight. You wish you could shed your skin like a snake and start again as something unremarkable. You try to delay it with silence, with invisibility. You shrink your presence. You let your voice dissolve. You start praying in secret, not to God, but to time itself, asking it to slow down, to wait. You eavesdrop more often now, Conversations by candlelight, half whispered in corners. She'll be safe, someone says. He's not cruel, another insists. You don't believe them. The less cruel are still cages. You overhear your aunt talking about her first marriage. Her eyes darken. I was 12, she says, then stops speaking. You count the months until you turn 12. You count them again. The village women begin to include you in their quiet circles. You learn to patch wounds with wine and spider webs, to make a poultice from garlic and herbs, to measure herbs by instinct. They say you have good hands. You try not to look proud. One evening, a man touches your shoulder in passing. Too long, too soft. You freeze. He doesn't say a word. But you remember? Later, alone, you press your fingers into the wooden wall, pretending they are roots, pretending you can hold on. But the wind is picking up. The wind always picks up. And your name is already being whispered by mouths not your own. You're barely 9 when the whispers turn into plans. 10 when your mother stops looking you in the eye. 11 when the midwife nods at your body like a butcher assessing meat. Your blood has become public news. No celebration, no ceremony. Just a nod from your father and a tighter grip from your mother as she scrubs your arms raw. You want to ask what's happening, but you already know. You've known since Lena disappeared, and the priest smiled at you too long. Now they weigh your usefulness, not in talents, in purity, in hips, in silence. You are spoken of in meetings you don't attend. Your future has a location, a name, and a timetable. You are not invited to participate. Your body is a letter being sent to someone else. They make you a new dress, heavier fabric, longer sleeves. You hate it. It doesn't belong to you. Nothing does. You wonder if animals know when they're being sold. You wonder if they feel shame. You do. They teach you how to greet him. Knees bent, eyes down, never too soft, never too cold. Smile, but not too wide. Speak, but not too much. You repeat these drills like scripture. There's no room for personality here, only performance. He arrives on a cart pulled by oxen. He steps down, back bent, hair gray, teeth brown. You watch him like you'd watch a storm in the distance. Dread, fascination, disbelief. He shakes your father's hand. He doesn't look at you, not yet. That night, your mother holds your chin and says, "He's not cruel." She says it like a prayer, like she hopes saying it makes it true. You nod, because that's what girls do. The day of the agreement feels like a wedding and a funeral. Your feet are scrubbed, your hair oiled, your hands tremble. He gives your father a sack of coins. You are not mentioned by name, only as she. You feel yourself becoming smaller in real time. The priest says a blessing. It sounds like a sentence. You don't cry, not in front of them. Later, by the fire, your younger sister asks if you're going away. You say yes. She asks if she can come too. You say no. Then you lie and say it's not scary. Your last night at home is the quietest of your life. Even the chickens seem to sense it. You sit beside your mother pretending to sew. She watches the needle, not you. You try to memorize the smell of your house, the crooked beam in the ceiling, the dirt under your bed, the sound of your brother snoring. This will all become memory. You don't know if it's worth saving. Your mother tells you what to expect. Bleeding, obedience, breathing through pain. You nod. The words feel unreal, like theater, like a dream someone else is dreaming through you. When the cart comes back, your bundle is small. A comb, a cloth, a knife, a braid of garlic, a dried sprig of lavender hidden in the hem of your sleeve. You don't know why you took it. Maybe because it smells like something you'll miss. You don't say goodbye to your father. He doesn't offer it. You don't cry. You can't afford to. The road is bumpy. The sky is too blue. Your stomach turns with every jolt of the cart. He sits beside you, silent. His hands rest on his knees. You stare ahead, pretend to be stone, because stone doesn't feel. And if you feel, you break. And no one has time to put you back together. You arrive before dusk. The house is smaller than you imagined. The door creaks, a dog barks, a woman peers through a curtain, then disappears. You are shown a bed. It's straw, the same as before, but colder. Your bundle is placed at the foot of it. No one tells you what to do. You sit, wait. Listen to voices in another room. You can't make out the words, but you hear your name once and again. The door stays open. The wind sneaks in, and the evening you feared is just beginning to unfold its quiet, permanent shape. The morning of the wedding is not yours. You are dressed by others, spoken of in third person, touched, braided, brushed, bound. You stand like a mannequin while hands work around your body. They comment on your skin, your shape, how the dress fits. You do not speak. The version of you they see is already divorced from your own sense of self. The dress is stiff and smells of vinegar and old wool. The lace scratches your neck. You think of your old dress, the one that smelled of garlic and smoke, and you miss it. You miss the girl who wore it. She doesn't exist anymore. The house is crowded. Strangers walk through it as if it belongs to them. Your husband-to-be is somewhere outside, drinking with men who laugh loudly and call you the girl. You are not nervous. You are numb. Numbness is safer. The priest arrives. He looks bored. He blesses bread, salt, water. He mumbles scripture as if he's reading a list of chores. No one listens. They're watching you. Your new husband stands beside you. His hand grazes your wrist. You don't move. He smells like onions and sweat. His smile is brief and uneven. You focus on the wooden beams in the ceiling. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you accept? It's not a question. It's a checkpoint. Your nod is mechanical. Your hands stay at your sides. Applause. Laughter. The sound of mugs clinking. A man sings something slurred. You are led to another room while the feast begins. You sit on the edge of a bed, alone. Someone leaves food for you. A slice of bread, some broth, a piece of meat. You stare at it. Eat slowly. It tastes like nothing. He comes in after the second song. He says your name once, then sits beside you, talks about the weather, the crops, his brother's dog. You nod at the right times. You do not look at him. He touches your shoulder. You flinch. He notices, says nothing, waits. You wait too. He begins to undress you like he's unwrapping a package, carefully, quietly, like he knows this is something that shouldn't be said aloud. You close your eyes. You breathe through your mouth. You count backwards from 100. You leave your body entirely. After he falls asleep quickly, you stay awake. Your thighs ache. Your belly feels tight. The room smells different now, fermented, final. You do not cry. You think of the lavender sprig in your bundle, of your sister's face, of the way chickens sound at dawn. You are married now. You are 13. The next morning you rise before him, boil water, make bread, wash the cloth that stained red during the night, fold it small, hide it in the ashes. You are called wife now. It doesn't feel like a word. It feels like a door that closed. Villagers nod at you differently. Some women smile, soft, tired smiles that don't reach their eyes. Some men watch you longer than before. You avoid their gazes. Your husband asks for supper early. His voice is calm. He tells you stories about pigs, about taxes, about the year the river froze. You stir the pot and nod. He doesn't ask about you. You learn that men do not ask. At night, he comes to bed without speaking. His hands are calloused. He never hurts you, not violently, but the absence of choice is its own violence. You understand this now. Each day is a copy of the last. Water, firewood, cleaning, cooking. Knead, boil, sweep, nod. You find rhythm in it, not peace, but predictability. Sometimes you walk to the stream, alone. You watch the current and imagine it carrying you somewhere else. You dip your hands in. It's cold. It makes you feel real. You begin bleeding monthly now. You learn to count the days, to track the flow. You hide the cloths, boil them clean, hang them when no one's home. You never complain. The women tell you what to eat to help with cramps, which herbs to chew, which teas to steep. They do not speak of pleasure, only endurance. Your hands toughen. Your back begins to ache in the mornings. Your hair is always tied up. Your voice is rarely used. And when you hear a girl laugh in the village square, wild and barefoot, you flinch because you remember that sound, and it doesn't belong to you anymore. Later that week, your husband brings home a chicken with a broken wing. You care for it, feed it crumbs, tuck it into old cloth. It doesn't heal, but for days it follows you, limping, loyal. You whisper to it at night. It listens. You feel seen. Then one morning, it's gone. Your husband says Foxus must have gotten it. You nod, say nothing. But something inside you twists and stays twisted. You bake bread with extra salt that day. It's not a mistake. That night, you walk barefoot to the stream again. The stars are sharp. The cold numbs your souls. You look at the water and don't wish to jump, but you don't wish to stay either. You stand there until your toes are numb and your breath fogs like a ghost. And still, the next morning you wake. You rise, you boil water, because that is what wives do. The house is small. One room to sleep, one to cook, a corner for storing tools, a bench by the window where you sit and sew, a shelf with jars, salt, lard, pickled cabbage. Everything smells faintly of smoke and boiled onions. There are no secrets here. Every breath, every sound, every movement is known. You wake before the sun, always stretching quietly, trying not to wake him. The coals from the night before are cold. You build a fire with shaking hands, split kindling with a dull axe, draw water from the barrel. It freezes sometimes. You learn to break the surface with a ladle, then warm the ice in your palms like a prayer. Your husband rises later, stretches, grunts, rubs his face. You hand him a bowl of porridge. He eats without thanks. You clean the bowl after he sets it down, always behind him, always silently. You speak only when spoken to, and even then, you measure your words. He doesn't like too many, doesn't like when you speak too fast or with too much certainty. You learn to lace your voice with apology. Sometimes he talks about pigs, or debts, or the way the priest mispronounced Latin again. You nod. Sometimes you say, sometimes you don't. The hens need feeding. The hearth needs sweeping. You turn milk to cheese. Stretch dough until your wrists throb. Hang laundry on ropes that sag in the cold. You find quiet pride in the rhythm. Not joy, not purpose, but a momentary absence of dread. The neighbors visit rarely. Sometimes a woman stops by for eggs. She asks if you're well. You say yes. She doesn't believe you, but she nods anyway. She understands the rules. You begin to understand time differently, not in days or weeks, but in tasks. Churned butter, mended hem, dried herbs. You forget your birthday. No one remembers it but you. Your body changes. Your breasts ache near the moon's full face. Your belly bloats. You wake up with cramps that twist you into yourself. You whisper through them. Learn to work bent over, breath held. One afternoon, you slice your finger open with a blade. The blood comes fast. You wrap it in cloth, hide the stain, finish the task. You don't tell him. He wouldn't understand the fuss. At night, you lie awake, counting breaths, listening to the wind. Sometimes you think about the girl you were, the one who ran in fields, who scraped knees climbing trees. She visits you in dreams, smiling, untouched. You want to hold her to warn her, but she runs away every time. Sometimes your husband brings home gifts, a shawl, a hair comb, once a ribbon. You thank him. He nods, pleased. You put the ribbon in your hair and feel like a doll on a shelf. Your body is no longer something you think about. It is a tool, a container, a negotiator. When he touches you, you close your eyes and wait. It is never tender. It is always expected. You are not yet with child. He begins to notice, says things like, maybe you're too thin, or God will give us one in time. You nod. You begin drinking more nettle tea. You pray harder. You cry once silently into your apron. Still, your belly stays flat. The village women begin to watch you differently. Some offer advice. Some stare with pity. You feel like a pot that won't boil, like something broken but still in use. You begin to walk longer each day, past the fields, near the woods. You pick wildflowers and press them between pages of an old prayer book. You hide it under your mattress. You look at them at night when you cannot sleep. They are fragile, useless, beautiful. You wonder if that's what you are too. One morning, you see a fox near the barn. It pauses, stares at you, then disappears into the fog. You stand there long after it's gone, imagining what it would be like to run that fast, to vanish into trees without explanation, to never come back. Later, you grind flour until your arms are sore. The sound soothes you, stone on stone, a rhythm older than pain. Your husband is quieter these days. He doesn't smile as much. He watches you sometimes, like he's expecting something. A child, a change, a reason. One night, you sit across from him, stitching a tear in your dress. He says, "Maybe we should ask the priest to pray for us?" You say, "Maybe." He nods. The silence between you stretches and holds. You finish your stitching, knot the threads, trim the edge, fold the fabric over your knees. The fire cracks, and the house, small as it is, feels like the entire world. Heavy, permanent, a place where every breath you take echoes. You exhale and begin again. It happens on a day like any other. You are kneading bread, wrist dusted with flour, when the ache in your back feels different, sharper, deeper, alive. At first you ignore it. You've ignored so many things. Pain, after all, is part of the landscape, but this one does not pass. That night your stomach tightens and waves. You try to sleep sitting up. You cannot. You sweat, shiver, bite your lip until it bleeds. You do not call for him. You know he would not know what to do. The next morning the blood comes, too much of it. You do not scream, but your breath comes in gasps. Your knees buckle. You clutch the wall. You soil your only nightdress. You bleed onto the floor. He finds you pale and trembling. He does not touch you, it just stares. "Should I get someone?" he asks. You nod. The midwife arrives long after the worst is over. She inspects the cloths, the floor, your face. She does not ask questions. So she nods once, says, "It happens." You do not ask what it is. You are told to rest. You lie still for 2 days. Soup appears, then bread, then silence. Your body throbs in unfamiliar places. Your head aches. Your legs won't hold you. You bleed for days, then stop, then bleed again. Your body confuses even itself. You weep into the straw. The house smells like blood and smoke and damp wool. No one says the word miscarriage. You don't know it, but you feel it, a strange absence, like something heavy was there and then not, like you lost a thing you never met but were already supposed to love. He avoids you for days, then returns to the bed as if nothing happened. You flinch. He sighs, rolls over, says nothing. You are broken and still expected to serve. The village knows. They always do. Women look at you, then away. Some offer herbs. One leaves a basket at your door. Inside, dried rose hips, honeycomb, cloths. You don't thank her. You don't speak for 3 days. The silence is its own language now, a kind of shield, a place to go when your body feels like a battlefield. One morning, You try to wash your nightdress by the stream. The blood won't come out. You scrub until your knuckles bleed. You bury the fabric under stones. You walk home in wet clothes, skin freezing, breath ragged. He sees you, dripping on the floor, and asks, "Where were you?" You say, "Nowhere." He says, "You're making the floor muddy." You nod, mop it up. At night, you lie on your back and listen to your own heartbeat in your ears. It sounds distant, like someone knocking at a locked door. You do not open it. You stop counting the days between bleeds. They come irregularly now, light, then heavy, then not at all. The midwife calls it the body remembering. You call it the body refusing. You wonder what your womb remembers. A shadow, a pulse, a failure, and then one day your period doesn't come. Again and again. You wait, but this time there's no ache, so no nausea, no tightness, just stillness. You wait for joy. It doesn't come. You wait for fear. It never left. You kneel beside the fire, rub ash across your palms, and wonder what is left inside you now. In the mirror, your face looks thinner, your eyes more hollow, your voice quieter still. You begin to forget the sound of your own laughter. Not that you miss it. One day, while sweeping, you find a beetle trapped in a crack of the floorboard. You pause, watch it struggle. You don't move it. You don't kill it. You just keep sweeping around it. Your breasts feel heavy again. Tender, you ignore it. You always do. But the days stretch. Your stomach turns at the smell of broth. You vomit once in the morning, twice the next. You don't tell him. Not yet. Not until it's real. Weeks pass. You dream of blood, but it doesn't come. You feel hollow and full at once. A strange contradiction of hope and grief. You touch your belly at night, wondering if there's something or nothing growing there. Then one afternoon, you bleed again. This time slower, then fast, then stopping and starting like a clock losing time. You do not cry, you just clean it. And when it's over, when your body calms and your hands stop shaking, you sit on the floor, back against the wall, and you say aloud, "I'm still here." No one hears you, but you hear yourself. And for now, that has to be enough. It is spring when it finally happens. Your breasts ache again, but differently. Your stomach tightens, but doesn't cramp. There's no blood. Days pass, then weeks. The signs grow clearer. You wake in the dark and feel it. A shifting, a flicker, a flutter under the skin. You are not afraid. You are not hopeful either. You are watching. You do not tell him right away. Instead, you hold it like a secret flame, something too fragile for air. You prepare silently, change your tea, chew mint leaves, walk slower. You speak less. You sleep more. He notices your silence. He asks, "Are you ill?" You say, "No." He grunts, doesn't press. By the time your belly swells enough to show, the news has already traveled. The midwife arrives with broth and questions. You answer what you must. You do not name it aloud. You do not touch your stomach in front of others. The village women bring gifts, swaddles, salves, cloths. One brings a rattle carved from bone. You hold it in your palm like a curse. Your mother visits. Her face is older, thinner. She hugs you without warmth. Eat, she says. Don't lift anything. You nod. You do not cry, not in front of her. As your belly grows, your world shrinks. You stop going to the stream. Your feet swell. Your back aches. Your nipples darken. Your breath shortens. The midwife says, it's healthy. You say nothing. Your husband is proud. He tells neighbors. He brings you meat. He touches your belly like it's his. You lie awake at night feeling it move. A kick, a roll, a ripple. Sometimes it's soft. Sometimes it hurts. It is the only time your body feels alive again. One morning, you wake soaked in sweat. The sheets are damp. The air is thick. The house feels like a furnace. You step outside. Breathe deep, smell earth, animals, fire. You whisper, you will not take me. You don't know who you mean. God, the child, death, maybe all of them. The labor begins with a whisper of pain, then silence, then another wave, sharper. Your knees give way. You crawl to the beds. The pain builds. Your breath catches. You're alone. He's in the field. The midwife is still a day's ride away. You scream once, then again. The walls do not answer. You tear a sheet. You bite down on leather. You feel fire split you from within. Your body becomes nothing but force. You do not breathe. You do not pray. You endure. When the midwife arrives, you are soaked in blood and fury. She barks orders. He stands frozen. Water, cloths, the fire. You push until your vision blurs, until your skin feels like wax, until your hands forget what they are. And then there is a cry, a thin, raw sound, not yours, not his, a new one, a voice that doesn't belong to memory. You collapse. The pain doesn't end. It mutates. But now it has a witness. The midwife wraps the child, wipes your brow, cuts the cord. You don't ask what it is. Boy? Girl? It doesn't matter. She lays the bundle on your chest. It is smaller than you imagined. Heavier somehow, soft and loud. Your heart doesn't know what to do. Beat faster, slower, break entirely. You look at it, and for the first time in months, your eyes fill. He steps closer, just looks at the child, then at you. He doesn't speak. You nod. He nods back. A truce, a moment, then it passes. The fire crackles. The child cries again. You hum, a low, broken hum, the only song you remember. Outside, the sky begins to darken. Spring rain. You close your eyes and think not of what comes next, but of the fact that you are still breathing, still here, still whole enough to hold something. The baby survives. That is a miracle. You learn to hold it without fear, to nurse without flinching, to change cloths, soothe cries, rock through the night. The baby cries often, but not always. Sometimes it sleeps with its mouth open like a fish. Sometimes it watches you, wide-eyed, as if it remembers something you don't. You are not maternal. You are not joyous. You are competent. He is proud. He lifts the child like a prize, says it looks like him, calls neighbors to see. They nod. Some smile. One woman touches your shoulder. Her hand is warm. You almost cry. Your world shrinks again. Now it fits inside a routine of feeding, cleaning, waking, rocking, pacing. Your arms are never empty. Your back always sore. You eat standing, sleep lightly. Forget what silence feels like. And yet, You love it, not in a song, not in the way mothers are drawn in paintings, but in a slow-burning, protective way. You would kill for it. You would die for it. You watch its chest rise and fall like proof that you did something right. When it laughs for the first time, you don't recognize the sound. Then you realize it's yours too. A sound escaping both of you, shared, stolen. You begin to speak more. To the baby, to yourself, short sentences, soft vowels, nothing important. But it feels like sweeping cobwebs from your throat. Your husband works longer days, returns with mud on his boots and questions about supper. He does not hold the baby often, says it smells, says it cries too much. You stop listening. The seasons turn, spring to summer, summer to ash. Autumn clings to the trees like regret. Your child grows teeth, takes steps, says syllables, cries when you leave the room, laughs when you tickle its feet. You do not think about death as much. You still bleed, not regularly, not predictably, but enough to remind you that your body remembers. Then one day, the crying doesn't come. You wake before the sun as always. The coals are cold. The blanket beside you is warm, empty. You listen. Silence. You go to the cradle. Your hand hovers over it. Stillness. For a moment, you are frozen. Then you touch the child. Warm, breathing. You exhale. Collapse to your knees. Laugh. Cry. Press your face to its belly and feel it squirm. The silence breaks. A wail, hungry and wild. You welcome it. Later, when the baby naps, you sit by the fire and touch your own face. You try to remember what you looked like before the baby, before the husband, before the blood. Your hands are rougher, your arms stronger, your voice quieter. But you are still here. The child wakes, reaches for you. You carry them outside. The air is cool, the sky wide. The trees whisper things you cannot hear. You walk a little farther than usual, past the stream, into the edge of the woods. You show the child a beetle, a pine cone, a feather. You teach them the word for dirt, for wind, for mother. They repeat it, garbled, sweet, real. Your husband calls from the house. You do not answer right away. You stay there in the clearing a little longer, because here no one is watching, no one is measuring, no one is expecting, just you and the child and the breeze and the future still unnamed, still yours to shape. You turn back slowly, but not with dread. For the first time, the repetition of days feels like something you might endure, something that might become a life. You don't notice it at first. It's just a slight limp, a cough that doesn't go away, a moment when your hand doesn't grip the handle tight enough, a missed step, a lost word. You laugh it off. You're still young, not yet 30. But 30 is old for a woman who's carried life inside her, bent over a fire for half her days, and buried more blood than she's kept. The child grows fast, too fast. Their feet thump across the floor. Their mouth is always full of questions. They sing, loudly, off-key. They don't notice when you sit down too slowly, or when your fingers tremble. Your husband doesn't ask. He only says, "You've been tired lately." Yes, You have been tired for years. The aches turn to stabs. The fatigue becomes a fog. Some days your body feels like it's moving through mud. Some nights you lie in bed, unable to sleep, unable to breathe, not because of fear, but because something inside you is slowing. The midwife visits again. She looks at your eyes, your tongue, your hands. She says nothing for a while. Then you need rest. You laugh. Rest? Who will feed the chickens? Who will clean the baby's cloths? Who will boil the water? She presses a vial into your hand. Drink this when it gets worse. You don't ask what worse means. You begin to forget things. The taste of your favorite food, the exact sound of your sister's laugh, the shape of your mother's mouth when she was young. But you remember your child's birth, vivid, like fire, like thunder. You remember the pressure of that moment, the pain that birthed proof. Your child sits at your feet now, playing with a twig. They hum the same tune you once did, the hum you didn't know they heard. You close your eyes, and the world spins a little. You hold on to furniture as you move. You forget to finish chores. You find yourself staring at walls longer. Your hands drop things. You flinch at sudden noises, not from fear, from something deeper, some ancient exhaustion that has taken root in your bones. You stop bleeding entirely. At first, you think it's a blessing. No cloths, no cramps, no worry. Then you realize it's another goodbye. Your body is closing doors. The child brings you wildflowers. They press them into your palm. For you, they say. You smile, not because you want to, because it's the last thing left you can give. You begin to sleep longer, at odd hours. The chores slip. The hens go hungry. You forget names. You forget words. You remember only feelings. Warmth, cold, love, regret. You no longer pray, not because you're angry, but because you're done asking. The vial sits untouched in the corner. You think about it, then don't, then do. Your husband doesn't speak much anymore. He brings you broth, sits nearby. Sometimes he snores. Sometimes he watches. You don't know which is worse. One night you sit by the window. The moon is full. You listen to the wind. The child sleeps curled like a comma beside the hearth. You whisper, "I hope you remember me soft." The next morning, you wake to birds, to sunlight, to breath in your chest. It surprises you. You stand slowly, carefully. Step outside. The earth is wet. The sky is wide. You are still here, not whole, but still. Enough to finish one more day. You don't rise as quickly anymore. You sit longer by the fire. You hum more than you speak. You watch your child more than you touch them. They notice. They bring you water without being asked. They brush your hair with clumsy fingers. They learn to slice roots, to stir pots, to carry buckets. Their small hands become your shadow. You are proud and terrified. proud that they are strong, terrified that they'll need to be. Your husband speaks less. When he does, it's of practical things, repairs, seasons, price of grain. He has learned your silence. It rests between you like a shared blanket. Your child begins to ask questions you cannot answer. Did you love being young? Were you scared to marry? What does death feel like? You smile, lie sometimes, other times you say, I don't remember. It's easier that way. The neighbors visit less. One has died. Another moved to live with her son. You realize the village has shrunk, or maybe you have. You sit outside more now, wrapped in wool, skin thin as onion paper. The sun on your face is the only heat you trust. The child sits beside you, still curious, still chatty. Their words comfort you. They fill the space between breaths. One day they ask, what do I do when you're not here? You say, keep going. They nod, unsure, but they nod. They grow taller, learn to sew, to cook, to sharpen a blade. Their voice deepens or softens. You can't tell anymore. They begin to take the weight from your hands without asking. You begin to feel the world loosening its grip, like a cloth pulled gently from your shoulders. Sometimes you wake confused, not knowing where you are, not recognizing your own reflection. You call them by the wrong name. You mistake seasons. But their voice always brings you back. One call, mother, and your eyes focus. Your lungs remember. One evening, the two of you sit by the hearth, the fire low, your breath shallow. They ask again, what should I remember most? You say how the wind feels in spring. They frown. Why? You say, because it reminds you you're alive. You both go quiet. They reach for your hand. Your bones shift like twigs, but they hold on. In your sleep, you dream of rivers, of wheat bending in wind, of a girl running barefoot, laughing. You wake with the scent of earth in your nose. You smile. You hum. The days shorten. The child prepares meals. You barely eat. You sleep more. You stop answering the door. But the child never leaves. They stay near, reading aloud, singing softly, fixing the house with careful hands. They have become more than you ever hoped, and all you ever were. You give them a shawl, the ribbon, a name, a prayer. You don't say goodbye. You say, when it's quiet, listen for me. And one morning, the child wakes and finds the hearth cold, the bed empty, the world still. They light a candle, place it near your chair, sit beside it, and hum the same tune you taught them, the one that never had words, because some love doesn't need them. It just stays. The house is too still now. Your absence fills it like smoke. They wake early, not because they must, but because they always have. They clean the hearth, they boil water, they feed the hens. The chores feel smaller, or maybe they've grown. There is no voice calling their name, no hum behind their movements, no warm presence near the window, only memory. They speak aloud sometimes, asking questions, telling stories, pausing for answers that do not come. They light a candle every evening, same place, same wick, same whisper, still here. They walk farther now, to the edge of the woods, down the slope where the stream sings louder. They listen to the wind. It does feel like you said, like being alive. They find your ribbon in the drawer, the comb, the prayer book. They hold them like relics, not of religion, but of resilience. They no longer cry, not often, not in daylight, but sometimes when chopping roots, when folding linen, when the silence cracks too loud, they pause and breathe. Because grief isn't loud, it's quiet. It lingers in corners. It waits behind closed doors. They visit the grave, though you have none, just a patch of earth beneath a tree. They bring wildflowers, sometimes feathers, once a carved stone. They speak aloud, tell you about the chickens, about the first frost, about how they fixed the roof. And every time they leave, they say, you would have laughed. The seasons turn, winter presses close, the walls creak, the floor groans. They mend it all with steady hands. One day, a knock at the door. A girl, lost, hungry, afraid. They take her in, feed her, warm her, ask nothing. The girl stays for 3 days, then offers to work. They nod, and the work continues. You would have liked her. She hums when she stirs the pot. They pass on your habits, your warnings, your humor. They say, she used to say, and the girl laughs. More knock at the door as time goes on. Travelers, neighbors, orphans, old friends. The house does not grow, but it fills again, not with noise, not with clutter, with warmth. The fire never goes out. The child, now no longer quite a child, writes, not books, but notes, recipes, names. They write so the remembering doesn't vanish. They plant onions, mint, spinach, keep bees. They live. And every spring, when the first green pushes through soil, they whisper, you were right, because the wind does remind them that they are still alive and that you were too. Years pass without your voice, but never without your echo. They age slowly, the way people do when rooted in purpose. Their hair grays, their steps stiffen, but their hands stay steady. Their fire never falters. The girl who stayed grows into a woman. She braids her own hair now. She calls them Old One with a smile. She hums your songs without knowing their origin. Others come, others go, but the house never empties for long. Every task still bears your shape. The way the flour is sifted, the order of herbs in the rack, the silence before supper, all of it is yours. They build a shelf for books. Few come, but they make space for them anyway. A place for stories, recipes, names. One spring a boy arrives, ragged clothes, too thin, eyes too sharp. He says nothing the first 2 days, then asks if he can stay. They nod. They always nod. He sleeps by the fire, wakes early, learns quickly. One day he asks, "Who was she?" pointing at your ribbon on the mantel. They say, "She made all of this." The boy doesn't ask more, but he watches, learns your ways without knowing. He hangs the laundry like you did, sweeps like you did. He hums off key like your child once did. They tell him stories of you, of the house, of the winter you almost didn't survive. They say your name less now, but think it more often. Sometimes they speak to you in the garden, tell you the spinach is stubborn, that the bees are well, that the new girl sings too loud. The wind listens. You are nowhere and everywhere. The girl, now woman, leaves one summer, marries, moves, sends letters when she can. The house shifts again, quieter, but not empty. They teach the boy to cook, to stitch, to plant. He burns the stew once, cries. They laugh, just like you would have. In the evenings, they sit outside, the boy at their feet. They talk about stars, about time, about how things stay and change. One day the boy says, "When I grow old, will I remember like you do?" They say, "You'll remember what matters." And they believe it because that's what you taught them, and it was enough. The house creaks more now. Doors that once closed with a whisper now groan. The floor dips where too many feet have passed, but it holds, just like always. They move slower, but not with sorrow, with care, with memory. The boy becomes a young man. He fixes the roof without being asked. He learns to read old recipes. He listens. Every year on the same day, they gather herbs and flowers. They make a broth. They clean the hearth. They sit in silence. No one says your name, but everyone feels it. The days are shorter now. The light slants differently through the windows. Dust floats in golden beams, settling on everything. They do not sweep it all away. Some of it belongs. The garden is smaller, but it grows. Mint, onions, one stubborn patch of lavender. He tends it, talks to it, as you once did. Visitors still come. They eat slowly. They help where they can. They leave with stories. He tells them how the house came to be, not just built, but made, lived in, survived in. He doesn't call you by name. He calls you her. They understand. Sometimes he sits alone by the fire, not sad, just full of echoes, of thoughts, of everything that still lingers. He reads aloud, to no one, to himself, to you. Your chair remains. No one sits in it. That is not a rule, just truth. The birds still nest in the rafters come spring. The first frost still takes the spinach too soon. The bees still vanish, then return. The house doesn't forget. One stormy night, lightning cracks so close it rattles the walls. Rain pours through the chimney. He stands in the middle of the room, arms wide as if bracing it, and the house holds. He rebuilds the edge of the roof the next morning, alone, in silence, just like you did once, when he was too small to help. He wears your shawl when the nights are cold, not out of sentiment, out of need. One day a child arrives, no one knows from where, just shows up, wet, tired, quiet. He opens the door. Hungry? He asks. The child nods. He feeds them, wraps them in blankets, hums a broken tune. The child doesn't ask to stay, but stays. And so it begins again. He teaches them to stir the pot, to feed the hens, to sweep, to fold. They burn the stew once. Cry. He laughs. In the evening they sit by the hearth. He tells them there was a woman once. And so your story stretches, not perfectly, not precisely, but honestly, because the house remembers, because he remembers, because you lived, and because that was enough to begin again. There's no monument to you, no statue, no carved name, no song, but there is this house, this fire, this shawl. The new child learns to shell peas. They hum now too. He watches them with quiet pride. He never rushes, never interrupts. The world beyond changes. The village has fewer homes. The road is dustier, but the door still opens. The rhythm remains. Firewood chopped, bread baked, floor swept, herbs dried. The child grows taller, learns to mend, to season, to soothe. He grows slower. His hands tremble now. He sits more, but he smiles often. The child asks questions, endless ones, about the stars, about bees, about the story of the shawl. He answers gently, carefully, never rushed. He tells them about you without saying your name. She taught someone who taught me, he says. They nod, content with mystery. Seasons shift. Winter brings harsh winds. He coughs more, sleeps longer. The child brings him broth, wraps him in quilts, hums at his bedside. He says, "You're doing well." They say, "You did too." And neither speaks again for a while. They walk together some days, slowly, to the stream, to the garden. He names plants. They remember them all. One dusk, they find a fox near the coop. The child freezes. He claps twice. The fox runs. He chuckles. "Your turn next time." The child smiles, proud, afraid. Then one night the fire burns low. He doesn't rise, doesn't speak, just breathes, then doesn't. They sit with him all night, humming. They don't cry, not right away. They gather his shawl, his notes, his broken spectacles. They light a new candle, clean the hearth, feed the hens, and hum. The house is quiet again, but not empty, never empty. The child, now no longer a child, moves with purpose. They plant, mend, listen. One evening, someone knocks. A woman, thin, lost, carrying a baby. "Just until morning," she says. They nod. Of course. They make a bed, heat the soup, offer the shawl. The baby cries. They hum. It works. The woman says, "Who taught you that song?" They pause. Someone who was loved. And that is all that's needed. Because the thread continues. Because you once lived. And that was enough. The woman stays longer than one night. The baby grows quickly. Soft cheeks, heavy eyes. The house stretches, makes room. They share tasks now, the young one and the mother. The hearth burns steady. The shawl passed from shoulder to shoulder. Always warm, always worn. No one speaks of who came before, not out loud, but they feel it. In the way the bread is sliced, the way the chair is never used, the way silence settles like a guest. The child learns to crawl, then walk, then climb. They touch everything, laugh at nothing, cry at storms. They are loud, alive. The young one, older now, teaches with patience, like they were taught, like you taught, without speaking your name. The mother watches, wary at first, then grateful. She begins to plant, to mend, to stir. The rhythm returns, not the same, but close, familiar enough to not break. One day the child brings a dead beetle to the table. The mother flinches. The young one smiles. Curious, like someone I knew. The mother doesn't ask. The shawl gains another patch. The pot another dent. The garden another row. Years fold in. The child becomes a helper. They stir the pot now, fold the linen, sweep without asking. The mother hums now, too. One evening, lightning strikes nearby. The windows rattle. The child wakes in terror. The young one walks to the hearth, lights the fire, wraps them both in blankets, hums. The child stills. The mother watches. A tear slips. She doesn't wipe it. They survive another winter, and another. The garden grows slower, but grows. They build a shelf together for new jars, new books, new hands. The child carves a name into wood, their own. The young one lets them. There should be more, the child says. There are, the mother answers. But not carved, the young one adds. Carved things break, remembered ones stay. The child doesn't understand, but nods. Seasons turn, birds return, leaves fall, again and again. The house creaks differently, softer, older, but not weaker. The young one begins to slow. The child nods. Understanding blooms slowly. One evening, lightning strikes a tree near the house. The fire leaps. Sparks rain. They run outside together. Buckets, cloths, bare hands. The child leads. The mother shields. The young one calms. When the last ember dies, they sit on the wet ground, silent. Then laughter, not from fear, from relief, from something older. The fire didn't win. The house stands, and they know fire isn't only danger. It's heat. It's change. It's proof of breath. The young one says, fire is another name for life. The child adds, then this house is alive. The mother closes her eyes, nods, and that night they light the hearth not out of need, but ritual, because every flame is a memory, and every memory still burns. Time doesn't announce itself. It slips in, soft steps, dust on windowsills, creaks in floorboards. The child, now nearly grown, takes longer walks, listens more, speaks with precision. The mother ages into quiet, her hands curled, her back bowed. She smiles more, speaks less. The young one writes again, lists, maps, recipes, memories, not to keep, to pass on. The house expands inward. Every object tells a story. Every crack holds breath. One morning the mother does not rise. They find her by the window, shawl over her lap, eyes closed, mouth open just slightly. The child touches her hand, cool, still. They do not cry yet. They wrap her gently, wash her hair, fold her clothes. The young one lights a candle, sits in silence. Together they dig a place near the tree. No stone, no mark, only a braid of herbs. The child says she was soft. The young one says she was strong. They both say nothing else. Spring arrives late that year, the ground reluctant, the sun shy. The child takes over the garden, plants in silence, tends with care. They hum now, not the old tunes, new ones, but woven from the same silence. The young one watches, approves with nods, speaks in smaller sentences. Age shows itself in the way they move, in the way they pause. They begin to forget names, not faces, not smells, not the way fire sounds. But names fade. The child learns to say less, to hold more. One evening, the young one calls them by a name that is not theirs. The child does not correct. They simply say, "I'm here." And the young one smiles, like that is enough. The fire is lit earlier now. Meals are simpler. The shawl moves from back to back, always warm. Letters arrive from distant places, some addressed to names long gone. The child reads them aloud, even the ones that make no sense. The young one listens, eyes closed, fingers twitching like they're turning invisible pages. They tell stories out of order now, mixing timelines, forgetting endings. But the child listens anyway, learns to hear truth between pauses. One day the young one wakes, panicked. "Where's the ribbon?" The child hands it to them, folded so it's safe. They weep, not for the ribbon, but because they remembered to ask. Later, the child finds them asleep by the hearth, holding it. They do not wake again. No last words, no declarations, only stillness, peaceful, full. The child does not cry until morning. They build a new fire, bake bread, feed the hens. They place the ribbon above the door and hum, because some names fade, but not everything is forgotten. The child is grown now, not quite old, not quite young, but entirely themselves. The house feels different. not quieter, just fuller of what isn't said. They wear the shawl when it's cold, tie the ribbon on market days, fold the linens with care. The hearth still burns, the hens still cluck, the garden still offers, slow, steady, faithful. And sometimes when they hum, they feel breath on the back of their neck, memory or wind or both. They talk to the fire, tell it what they planted, what they cooked, what they forgot. Neighbors visit less. The village has thinned. But when someone comes, they stay a while. The house smells of bread, of herbs, of time. A traveler knocks once, hungry, tired, lost. They open the door, offer soup, a blanket, a place to rest. The traveler says, "This house feels like a memory." They smile. It is, and nothing more needs to be said. The traveler leaves a week later, stronger, quieter, humming. The grown one repairs a broken shelf, paints the door, trims the vines. A fox walks by the window one morning, pauses, looks in. They nod. The fox nods back. The sky changes faster these days. Storms come and go. The garden learns to bend. They learn to bend too. Knees cracking, back stiff, but still moving. One day, they find a feather on the doorstep, gray, light, familiar. They tuck it behind a beam, next to the ribbon, the old comb, the last drawing. The house holds it all. Children from the edge of the valley start visiting, curious, hungry, wild-eyed. They teach them to stir the pot, to shell peas, to hum while folding. One child asks, "Who built this place?" They say, "It wasn't built, it was remembered." That child returns again and again. They become a helper, then a keeper. The grown one watches, smiles. The shawl shifts shoulders. The fire keeps burning. And when they sit alone some nights, eyes closed, feet near the warmth, they whisper, "I remember you." And the wind answers, software present, as it always has. You are long gone, but the story is not. It's in the way the bread rises, in the silence before sleep, in the warmth of hands that never touched you, but know you. The house is old, worn, but not tired. It exhales through its beams, breathes through its floorboards, listens through its walls. It remembers. The shawl remains, washed, mended, frayed at the edges, folded with reverence. The ribbon is now legend. Children trace its color with fingers, whispering guesses of its magic. Some say it grants courage. Others claim it holds songs too old to sing aloud. The chair is still empty, not from fear, from honor. A new child lives here. Bright eyes, loud feet, quick hands. They burn the porridge, overwater the herbs, ask too many questions. The grown one, old now, smiles, answers only some. They've learned that not all stories need telling. Some are felt. They plant new seeds, watch them take. The fire is no longer lit just to warm. It's ceremony, anchor, promise. Every evening they light it with a match, a breath, a pause. Then the humming starts. A low melody, not quite song, not quite silence. Everyone joins, or listens. They gather, eat, sit close, share less, feel more. The house holds it all. Oh, on the coldest night of the year, they find an owl perched on the roof. It watches, blinks, then flies. They take it as a sign. Of what, they don't say. The garden thins, the bees slow, the hens age, but the rhythm holds. One morning the old one doesn't rise. They are found wrapped in the shawl, a book in hand, a smile just begun. The child closes their eyes, lights the fire. The house sighs, software familiar. The story folds again, then stretches. New hands take up the broom, the pot, the hum. They write no names, carve no stones, but everything is known. A traveler arrives, asked nothing, given soup. He asks, "So what is this place?" The child says, "Home." He asks, "Whose?" They answer, "All of ours." And the fire crackles, the ribbon flutters. The air is thick with what came before. You are long gone, and still it burns, because someone remembers, and that is enough. And so you disappear, like all who came before.